The Toronto Blue Jays have made a depth signing in the form of Michael Brewer, who is sure to help the bullpen as he pitched real well last year in the minor leagues, and he's just only 22 years of age. And finally, we'll move on to Matt Chapman now, who's entering his walk year and said he wants to stay in Toronto. So we'll break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. And I want to thank you all for the support that we've been getting. Spring training is just a few days away, and we cannot be more excited for that first game. I think it's 25th, if I'm not mistaken, Nick.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah. So we'll have extensive coverage of that as well as all the other spring training games, and we cannot wait for opening day. But thanks once again for all your continued support. It's been unreal.
Yeah, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're, I think, 5 subscribers away from 6,300, so we're doing great. We're on the road to 6,500. Hopefully hit that maybe before, the end of the month. We'll see what happens. But let's get into the first topic now, which is the Jays make a sneaky depth signing. And this guy, I haven't heard much about him, and there isn't much about him, but, Twitter was kind of going, not going crazy, but they were saying they could be someone good. It was Michael Brewer who announced the signing via Twitter, where he said, "I'm very blessed to announce I've signed a contract with the Toronto Blue Jays. I'd like to thank God and those who have helped all along the way. With that being said, let's go Blue Jays." And people on Twitter did some research about him, saying that Michael Brewer has signed with the Jays. He pitched with Mahoning Valley in the MLB Development League in 2022, posting a 2.81 ERA in 25 innings pitched. Welcome. Now, I guess I'll get your thoughts on, the depth signing, Peter. We obviously don't know much about him, what he really does well, but he's pitched well in the development league, and this could just be another guy that we might be seeing down the line in the pipeline.
All right, so I'll be lying if I told any of you that I know anything about this guy, but in his 71 and two-thirds professional innings of pitching, he has 93 strikeouts. Now, the walks are a bit of a problem, 31 walks in those 71 and two-thirds innings, so he'll probably have to iron that out, sorry, but he's only 22 years old, and he'll be 23 once the season gets into August. So, he's got time to figure that out, and he's one of the younger free agents, I guess, that was still remaining. So we'll see. Might still be a couple years away, but all indications are pointing towards him throwing hard, having good stuff. He just got to smooth over a couple things in the minor leagues, and he should be ready to go in a couple years.
Yeah, and this is another depth signing. Obviously, we have tons of them. I don't think he's going to compete. Well, we know he's not going to compete for any bullpen spots this year,
No.
maybe in the next season or the year after. But it was just a signing that was very interesting. And again, like you said, 2.81 ERA in 25 innings in his most recent stint at the MLB Development League. And it's interesting to see players like this. I guess, players who aren't as big going in announcing their signings on Twitter. He has this nice graphic done up there. So very interesting to see that. And we'll make sure to keep up on him. And maybe we'll see him in the maybe next offseason. We'll end up having a video on him covering the his prospect review. But let's move on now to a more exciting topic, which is Matt Chapman saying that he, quote, wants to stay in Toronto potentially long term, which is very good to hear. So this was an article that was done up. It was posted actually on the Score and alongside the Toronto Star. So this was from the Score article there saying Toronto Blue Jays third baseman Matt Chapman says 2023 will be an important season for him with free agency looming. Quote, "It's a big and important year, but I've built a pretty good resume and know if I play every game to win, take care of business, and help this team win, what happens in the offseason after this will take care of itself." Leading into the big quote here, which says, "I know the Blue Jays enjoy having me here and want to continue having me here." Chapman said, "I know I want to continue to be here and be a part of this team." Meaning that, he must know, and I'm assuming we kind of knew that as fans anyways, that the Jays, are very interested in re-signing Matt Chapman, but this is the first time that he has publicly stated, and honestly, not many players going into their, free agency year say this, but he says he's open to and wants to stay in Toronto potentially long-term with his next contract.
Yeah, well, it all depends on Matt Chapman, and it depends how well he plays, and that'll like also dictate how much money he makes in free agency. So if he balls out, if he looks like 2019 Matt Chapman from the Oakland A's, then he's going to get paid. So if he does look like that old Matt Chapman, the platinum glove level Matt Chapman, the guy who's hitting nukes to all fields, then man, he's going to get 120 plus ish million. I can't remember what who tweeted it, but I saw it was either Rob Wong or Josh
Yeah.
Goldberg. Those two Blue Jay enthusiasts that do great work on Twitter over there. They said, I think it was Goldberg. He
It
said it would
was,
be
yeah.
around 5 years, 150 million. So I don't know if I want to pay that considering all the talented third basemen that the Blue Jays have in their pipeline with Addison Barger, Orelvis Martinez, Tucker Toman years down the line. So I don't know about you, Nick. Are you going to be willing to pay that price for Matt Chapman or hand over the reins to one of our young talented guys?
Yeah, I guess it depends how the prospects end up going, but it's kind of a double-edged sword for this coming season because the better that Chapman does, almost like the more, not more out of the range of the Blue Jays, salary kind of is, but it's gonna be the harder it is for him to re-sign, and the more teams that are gonna be interested in him, and he's gonna demand a massive contract, kind of like a Marcus Semien situation. However, I would feel more comfortable paying Matt Chapman a more expensive, deal than I would have
Okay.
been for Marcus Semien. However, his defense has declined a little bit especially after his surgery. So I don't know. It's gonna be very, very interesting. But we'll pop up this here quickly before we get your thoughts on that. This was a part of the same article, and it kind of goes to put everything in perspective. Chapman posted a 757 OPS with 27 home runs across 155 games last year, and since breaking into the league in 2017, he ranks fifth among all third basemen in WAR with 24. However, you have to keep in mind that he had a couple of seasons there where he was 7+ WAR, which helped boost that up. Most recently, I believe it was around 3 WAR. So, what are your thoughts on that whole situation? Would you be comfortable paying him an expensive amount, or do you think the Jays would be?
I wouldn't personally, but I think the argument on his defensive ability has is not really warranted because of the shift, and he's had to play out of position. And the Jays shifted more than anyone else in baseball last year, so that really hurt his defensive metrics. And just eye test Matt Chapman, the guy is a stud. You feel confident every time that ball is hit to the left side, and he's standing right there at third base. But I personally would not pay him the 150, but I do think he's going to have a great year. And you said it's a double-edged sword. I think that other edge of the sword is that he might play his way out of Toronto with how good he plays, but he might also expand the Jays' chances of winning a World Series this year. If he has like a Marcus Simeon type season where he wins a Gold Glove and finishes in the MVP race, then the Jays' chances improve significantly at playing late into October.
Yeah, it kind of works both ways. And hopefully, honestly, I guess the best case scenario is that he plays very well and the Jays just re-signed him for a,
Yeah.
respectable deal. However, I'm pretty sure he's under, Scott Boras, which could be a bit of an interesting negotiation thing there with expensive
Mhm.
contracts. But let us know what your thoughts are and if you would sign Matt Chapman for, say, 5 years, 150. As we move on now to the third topic, which is Manoah speaks out on the pitch clock, which I have a screenshot for you guys right here saying that Alek Manoah says he plans to use the pitch clock as a weapon. He says, I'm going to use it to my advantage. The goal is to go out there and use it to my advantage and put the pressure on the hitters for them to be ready quicker. I guess we can also quickly touch on the whole Kevin Gausman situation. I don't have a screenshot for it, but he has to alter his delivery a little bit
Mhm.
because of the new rules. How do you think the pitch clock is going to affect our pitchers and I guess the MLB in general? And I think Manoah could use it very well to his advantage.
Yeah, Alek Manoah loves to work quick. He wants that ball. He gets on that mound as quick as possible. I don't know if you could call it sprinting off the mound, but he runs off that mound when he's finished with an inning. He runs onto that mound when he's getting ready to pitch. So he's always 100 miles an hour, and he wants to be that quick working pitcher that doesn't give you any chance to gain your breath in that batter's box. So I think he'll use it to his advantage. But now Kevin Gausman, on the other hand, he can't do that little stutter step delivery. I'm not sure what you call it,
Toe tap, I
where you
guess.
pump 2 3 times. Exactly. Yeah, he can't toe tap 2 3 times like he used to. So all that muscle memory and him using that for the past I don't know how long. He's gonna have to get rid of that and try to adapt. So we'll see how it affects him, but it's the same for everybody. So everyone's gonna have to change something to adapt to these new rules.
Yeah, I think Gosman will end up being fine once he figures it out, but it obviously
Yeah.
might be a bit of an adjustment. And Manoah, he'll be fine with any rule that happens. He'll always try to use it to his advantage, like he says here. Put the pressure on the hitters is another interesting thing because obviously, everyone's talking about how it affects the pitchers, but it is going to affect the hitters as well because they may be used to a pitcher specific or particularly slow. Now he has to go fast, and the hitters had to be ready to go. It's going to be very interesting to see, and I'm excited for all these changes, like the bases as well, with lots of stealings. But do you have any final thoughts on that before we move on to the last topic?
Just yeah. No, I think we're good. We could move on. We
We're
can
well.
move
We're
on.
gonna be moving on to one of your favorite players. We touched on him a lot recently. Barger looking MLB ready, and I don't. That might be a bit of a stretch. I threw it in there anyways, but this was a tweet for him. Addison Barger. This is from today. Is super utility, but add linebacker to third baseman, shortstop, and outfielder. He is obviously, he's jacked. He is probably in the best shape out of anyone at the Blue Jays camp, out of any of the prospects. And when looking at Addison Barger, you see his ETA, which is 2023. Obviously, you have his news updated, or his scouting grades there. 65 arm is his biggest thing, but we've talked to him about a lot recently. I guess we'll just quickly ask, what are your thoughts on this pitcher and him? Just the shape that he is in is unbelievable for how young he is and how he's not even he's not even on the Jays roster at all right now. Just to see him like that's very promising.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that picture. I didn't even have to like read the caption. I knew that was Addison Barger. That's my guy right there, Nick. That's my guy, and he's one of the main reasons why I don't want to give Matt Chapman 5 years, 150 million. Is he going to be as good as Matt Chapman defensively? Probably not. Chapman's one of the best defenders of the generation. He's been one of the best defenders in the American League for a long time, and I don't think Barger's going to measure up there. But he's a left-handed bat who hits for power, who's got a great eye at the plate, and I think he's ready. He's ready to make an impact as soon as next year as the starting third baseman on the roster. So I don't know. That's why I'm a little hesitant to throw all that money at Matt Chapman, and I don't think he'll accept a bridge deal either. I don't think he'll go for 2 years because this is probably his last chance to cash in. So I'm on the Barger train. I want him to make an impact next year, and I think he's got a chance to make one this year if Kevin Biggio doesn't perform like he should.
Yeah, maybe they give Addison Barger, and they probably will give him a few at-bats this year, whether it's in September or earlier, to see how he fares against MLB pitching, and maybe that helps their decision on the whole Matt Chapman situation. But that'll wrap up this video. Let us know your thoughts on the Matt Chapman situation and the Jays sneaky signing, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.
Thanks.